In this video, we'll understand the power of Photoshop Marquee Tool. Welcome to Webtricks Home. Hey guys, welcome to Webtricks Home. In this video, we'll explore all the selection options available with the Photoshop Marquee Tool. We'll go through each of the Marquee tools and see what we can do with them. So without wasting time, let's get started. So this is the first option on the selection tool, that's the Marquee tool, and you can see a couple of options here: rectangular Marquee tool, elliptical Marquee tool, single row Marquee tool, and single column Marquee tool. You can select this option with the short key M from keyboard as well. And let's have a look what this offers. So with the Marquee tool, you can either make a rectangular selection or hold the shift key and create a square selection of the object from your workspace. And if you see on the options bar, you can see there are a couple of options beside the selected tool and the preset it offers. Here's the new selection tool. That means every time you make a selection, that's going to make a new selection on your workspace. Then you have got the add to selection option, and this allows you to make multiple selections. Alright, then you have got the subtract from selection option, and this allows you to deduct the selection from your workspace like this. And then you have got the intersect selection, and that will help you select only the intersected part from the previous selection, right? Then you have got the feather option, and it allows you to soften the edges of the selection. Let's define a value here. Let's keep it 50 pixel, and let's make a selection then. And you can see the selection is a bit rounded at the edges. Now if you right click on the selection, you can see a couple of options. Let's look at layer via copy. This will create a new layer on your layers panel, and if you had the main layer from the workspace, you can see the object is copied with the edges a bit transparent over here, and this helps us to achieve smooth transition while creating composite images, so that whenever we try to move it anywhere, it blends nicely. Alright, now let's go to the other options and let's delete it. Now if you go here, you can see anti-alias, and it helps in smooth edge transition just like the feather, right? Then the other option is the style option over here, and you can see default option normal over here. If you click on here, you can see two other options, fixed ratio and fixed size, and this helps us to define the selection area on the selection size. Let's select the fixed ratio and see. So this allows us to define the width and height ratio of the selection. Let's keep it 3:1, hit enter, and then make a selection, and you can see the selection is in the ratio of 3:1 width by height. Alright, then we've got the fixed size option, and you can define here any size you want. Let's say 100 pixel by 100 pixel, and this will allow us to make a 100 by 100 pixel selection. And since the feather is too high, let's drop big feather radius over here and make a selection, and you can see 100 by 100 fixed size selection is made. You don't need to click and drag to make a selection. In this case, you can just click on your workspace and you can see the selection made. You can move the selection as well by clicking on your selection and dragging it anywhere you want. Alright, and if you select the move tool and move the selection, then you can see the object is moved. Alright, so let's get back to the original and let's see the other options. Let's keep it back to normal. Then you have got the refine edge option. Let's make a larger selection for that. So this is the selection I made. Then hit on the refine edge option, and you can see a dialog box appearing over here. The first option over here is the view mode, how you want your selection to appear on your workspace. Here the selected area is clear while the other area is masked, right? So you can see here a couple of options like marching ants, overlay, on black, on white, black and white, on layer or reveal layer, and this is quite unuseful over here. So you can select any of the option you want. Let's say I want to see it an overlay option. Then you have got the show radius, so there's no refinement area to show right now, and you can show original as well. And here's the zoom in option. You can zoom in and zoom out, whatever you want to do, and use all the tools. You can even move the object from here to view the selection area properly. Let's skip it back to fit to screen option. Let's check it off. Then you have got the edge detection option, and this allows Photoshop to automatically detect the edges. Then you have got the option to define the radius to keep the edges smooth over here. You can see the blurriness appearing over here, right? Let's keep it to minimum as of now. Then you can play with the edges here, keep the corners smooth, then define the feather to keep the edges transparent, right? Then you have got the contrast option. You can redefine the contrast on the edges, how sharp you want the edges to appear, or how smooth you want your edges to appear. up here. Then you can even shift the edges inside or outside, so you can contract or expand the selection from here. Then you have got the output option over here. Let's say decontaminate colors. That will remove the color fringes from the images, and then you can define the amount of decontamination. And then you have got the output option. Either you want the selected area appear on a new layer or appear with layer mask. You want this to appear in a new document or appear in a new document with a layer mask. Let's select the new layer with layer mask over here. Then you have got the option to remember the settings for the next time you want to refine the edges, but since the values differ for each image, well, up to uncheck this one. Then you can hit an OK to make the selection, and now you can see a new layer has appeared on the workspace as a layer mask over here, and the original document as it is. Alright, so these are the options available in the options bar for the Marquee tool. Let's delete this one and make a selection again. Now let's have a look on the options available after the selection in Photoshop. So right click on the selection area, you can see the first option to deselect, and this will deselect your selection area. You can even hit Ctrl D from your keyboard to deselect the selection. Then you have got the option to select inverse, and this will leave this area and select everything around in the document. Let's skip it back to select the inverse and revert it back to the original. Then you have got the option to feather. We have already talked about feather, but we can even define the feather from here. Let's say I want 20 pixel feather radius over here, and you can see the feather radius appearing over here. Let's give it back to original with Ctrl Z. Then you have got the option to refine edges, and we have already talked about it. Alright. Then you have got the option to save selection. You can make selections and save them for future use. Since this is a basic square selection, I'm not going to save this one. Then you have got the make work path option over here, and you can create a work path with this, and this will create an outline on your workspace but nothing on your layers panel. But if you have a look at the paths tab, you can see a work path is created over here. We'll talk about how we can use the work path in our future videos. For now, let's delete it and get back to our selection. Let's make the selection once again, and let's see other options. Then you have got an option to create a new layer copying the selection area. You can click on it, and you can see our selection area is duplicated on a new layer, and without the feather radius you can see sharp edges over here. Let's delete this one. Let's select again. Then the other option is layer via cut, and this will cut and paste the selected area on a new layer. You can see the selection area is cut and paste in a new layer, and if you hide this you can see the difference over here, but with the layer via copy it won't have affected our original document. Alright, then let's look at the other options. And here's the free transform option, and this will allow us to transform the area. And one important thing is, whenever you transform an object from your workspace, never stretch it like this from either of your boundaries. Always remember, you need to hold the shift key from your keyboard and drag the handles from the corners, and what this does is it preserves aspect ratio of the object and prevents the image from being stretched on one side or squeezed from any of the side. Alright, you can hit OK to preserve the changes or cancel the transformation. Alright, and not only Photoshop allows you to resize the selected area, but also you can use the free transform tool and right click on your selection area to view all the transformation options Photoshop offers. Basically, you can scale, then you can rotate, right? Then you can also skew your selected area as you want. Alright, then you can also distort it. Then you can also change the perspective how you want a selected area appear on the workspace. And you can also warp it. Let's zoom it a bit. And you can deform the image to your liking. Alright, and moreover, you can also rotate it directly, like 180 degree, 90 degree clockwise, or 90 degree counterclockwise, or you can flip the selected area horizontally or vertically. Let's cancel it and get back to normal. Then the other option is Transom Selection, and the basic difference here is only the selection area will be expanded or contracted with the Transom Selection option, not the object itself. You can hit OK to keep the changes or cancel the transformation. Then you have got the fill option, and this is quite interesting one. With the fill option, you can see a dialog box appear, and you can see how you want the selection area to be replaced, right? So you have got the foreground color option here to get the selection area replaced by the foreground color. Let's have a look. So this is the difference it makes. Let's get back. Then you have got the option to replace the selected area with the background color from the color swatch. Then you have got the color option to define any color over here. Let's say I want to replace it with this color. Hit OK and hit OK to set the change. Let's get back. Then you have got the option content aware over here, and this is the most important option to fill the selected area, because with this option we instruct Photoshop to remove the selected object from the workspace and fill it with whatever Photoshop things would suit the context. Hit OK to see, and you can see the image is replaced with the pixels from the workspace so naturally over here. Let's get back to whatever we had. Then we have got other options like pattern, history, black, 50% gray and white. Let's say pattern, and with the pattern you can see you have got a couple of patterns on your Photoshop library. You can create your own pattern over here and ask Photoshop to replace it with your selected pattern. Alright, and with the history option we ask Photoshop to replace it with the original content it had when we last opened the document. Then here are a couple of other options like black color, 50% gray color, or white color as well. Alright, then we have got the blending mode options, how you want the objects we replaced to appear, right? They will all play with the colors and make differences over here. We'll talk about the blending options in our brush tool tutorial. Once you learn about the blending options and their effects, you can use it easily to fill a selected area. Right. Then you have got the opacity option to play with the opacity of the object you have filled. Alright, so these are the options available with the fill option. Then you have got the stroke option, and this basically means a border, and you can define the width of the stroke you want to appear around the edges and the color of the stroke you want. Let's hit OK over here, and you can define the location of the stroke either inside the boundary or half inside, half outside of the boundary, or completely out of the boundary. Then you have again got the blending option and the opacity option over here. Let's hit OK to see what it does. And you can see it makes the boundary appear, stroke line appear outside the boundary. Let's get back to original position. And you can see the last two options are faded over here, so you can't use this two options over here. So let's get back to where it was and look at the other options. After the rectangular marquee tool, you have got the elliptical marquee tool with all the options remaining the same. Here you can see the anti-alias option is available over here for a smoother transition of the edges. That's what the feather does. Alright, then with the elliptical option you can make a round or an elliptical selection on your workspace. If you want a perfect circle over here, you can simply hold the shift key and click and drag your mouse on the workspace to make a perfect circle selection. Alright, and rest all of the options are same over here. Then you have got the single row marquee tool. Let's look at in a different image. Alright, single row marquee tool allows you to make a single pixel selection on the entire width of your document, and this can be used to make grid lines just like what we do with the rulers, right? So let's change the color and see how it works. Let's make a brown grid line on a new layer. Hit Alt and Backspace, and you can see a grid line appear over here, right? Similarly, you can also use single color marquee tool for the same region. Hit Alt and Backspace, and you can see another grid line appearing over here. If you look at the options bar, you can see all the options are similar to what you get on other marquee tools. Alright, let's delete it. One thing that you can do with single row or single column marquee tool is make a selection over here. So a single pixel entire width is selected. Place your mouse right over the selection area and right click on it. Transom Selection, and make the selection of entire area over here. Accept it and make a copy of the layer. Now select the layer, or hit Ctrl T, or go to Edit and Free Transform, and let's flip it like this. and hit OK. And you can see a mirror image of the image is created like this. Let's play with the opacity to make the water appear over here. And now you can see what we did with the single row marquee tool over here. Alright, so that's all for today. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe our channel for more videos. Thank you.